ongoing career. My shop and everything else is going great. But, you know, when you need help, don't be afraid, guys, to ask your peers, especially someone like Chris, who's been there and done it. You know, Rob's been and done it now. You know, so all this, the legacy of what Chris is doing is coming through all of us, bit by bit, drips and drabs, and it's being passed on to the youngsters, and it's great to see, Chris, honestly.
I want to say big up to Tony as well.
Tony
did some amazing work. Yeah. Love his work. He came on one of my little, I think it was a seminar me and Andy had, and he listened to the information, he implemented the information, and he's crushing it as well. Absolutely crushing it. So big up to you, Tony.
Brilliant, Tony. Brilliant. Well, Chris, just going on to going into sort of training and barbering now. Obviously, you work as with Foz Academy. You do that internationally, teaching. I just sort of tell the Sweeney TV fans that what you do with your education. How do you approach it? Do you approach it differently to everybody else, or do you have a set structure?
Okay, so I even teach people how to become educators. I teach people how to have their academies. I teach people how to get clients, all that good stuff. So how I structured I'm an open book here when it comes to this sort of information. When I started out, this is early 2000. So I'm going to tell you why I started my academy. Okay, I was working one of the very first wall artistic team members, and I got dropped early 2003, 2004. I think it's 2004, but I was in the wilderness, right? I didn't know what to do because back then, all the shows were wall. If you were barbering, there were no other barber stages out there. There were nothing back then, okay? So I was like, what do? I want to share my knowledge. I've got this gift that I want to share. So I decided to create my own academy back then. And again, it was one of the very first academies to do anything in barbering back then. And now there's multiple academies, which is great because it only helps our industry. So I was competing and paying. I was charging something like, I think, about £100 for a course per delegate. And I was struggling. I'm thinking, why am I struggling? It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to do this. Then I charge £150. And I thought, this isn't making sense to me. I would have thought I got more people coming through the door. So one thing I did was I changed my messaging and I went to my background. So my background is Mayfair. So I said to myself, okay, let's create a Mayfair experience. So I changed the messaging and really homed onto this Mayfair message. And then, of course, charge £150 wasn't enough because I thought, well, you don't expect to charge that price. I doubled my intake of people as soon as I started to charge £200 to £300 for a course. So I was then charging that price for a course. And it kind of like, this is nuts. So this was the way I moved forward. So now I started to do that, and I then went into Mayfair. I was teaching in Mayfair in a refinery, and the refinery moved location, then shut. That door closed completely to me. So I thought, okay, how do I do this education? So I then went online. So I went online, and I started to teach online. And believe it or not, like I said, I'm selling courses globally around the world to my audience. I've got courses on there. I've got shave courses. And you would have thought shave course is a practical thing, but the shave course I'm selling is £150, and that's taught online. So people are buying my courses online. I am not practically, physically teaching them now. I've taught them via videos, and they're buying my courses for £150. Wow. My current education list at the moment, I'm teaching. The average of my last list, I checked on my thing, I'm teaching about 700 people now online globally.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So this is the difference, that when you have a messaging, when you have a message, and this only happened when the door closed. The door closed because I couldn't do the education that I wanted to do in the salon anymore. And I thought, you moved premises, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I asked premises.
Yeah, exactly. I asked, can I do the training inside the shops? They said, no, that's it. You can't. You done. We don't want to. Yeah. And even then, when I went online, it was permanently closed. So the Foss Academy on my online on Google, it was permanently closed. So I wasn't getting into business at all. Do you know what I'm saying? So because it changed locations, they went to Google and said Google shut him down. So I was shut down, literally. And I thought, well, how do I continue this? So what I did was then I just switch lanes, man. I said, listen, that door's closed. Let's do it online. And again, I will coach anybody online but how to market your courses, how to get your courses out there, because I've gone through the hard work. Now I can have an income, residual income, regardless of if I cut hair or not, the income's coming in. And this is the difference. This is the difference now that when before I was trying to kill my body to make money, I don't need to kill my body anymore. I can choose the days I work. I love cutting hair, so I can choose the days I work rather than I have to.
Yeah.
Situation.
Definitely, Chris. Definitely, my friend. Well, going on to sort of more of a lighter moment, you've just come back from the international fashion shows. I saw you in a couple of photos with David and Victoria Beckham were there. Just tell the SWEENEYTV fans how was the trip, and if you can give sort of any sort of information of how you kept to where you are with the fashion side of it.
Okay. So the very first couple of shows I've done, I worked with a couple of designers. The very first introduction to fashion was working with a designer called Ozzo Boateng. So I worked with him, and when you work with fashion, they generally have big hitters around them. So I was able to go on tour with him. I also went on tour with Usher, Chris Brown, Mary J. Blige, and working with the whole fashion side of things and working on some of his shows. So we did Moscow Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, and that's been great. Fast forward so I'm working now with Dior, so I can't say the people I work with, but these open doors. They open doors. I'm backstage. I can walk around. I can do all that mad great stuff. How did I get here? And I'm going to tell you now, Profiles got me to where I was cutting behind the chair. Profile is the thing that's going to make the difference to anyone listening to me right now, okay? If you think cutting hair better is going to make you do fashion, no, you're wrong, okay? The only way that people are going to see you and your work if you can show your work in a certain way. Most barbers, if you want to work in fashion, you can't, be called a barber. Be honest. It doesn't work, okay? Because, and I'm telling you why. Because the fashion industry is run by hairdressers, okay? So when I put Hair by Chris Foster, it means that I am hair, okay? It means I do barbering. I represent my trade and my craft. So my brand is Hair by Chris Foster. Okay? It's not, Max Barbershop or Max Man Barber. Okay? Because I'm attracting a certain type of energy towards me. Do you get my drift?
Yeah.
But people don't realize that. Okay?
You're right.
If you want to work in fashion, you've got to then represent, you've got to have a viewpoint of fashion. You've got to put fashion, you've got to look at fashion, you've got to read the magazines, you've got to know your designers, you've got to study it, to know it, to then represent it, okay? And you've got to be good at hair. So that means you might then have to then maybe do more hair courses, working. You have to be able, there's no egos in fashion. You've got to drop that ego and you've got to assist. You've got to start assisting people, helping people, and work as a team.
Well, I was just about to say then, what sort of environment is it like? Is it really like 100 mile an hour, everybody's going crazy, shouting at each other, trying to get everything sorted, or is everybody really friendly and everybody gets on? What's the atmosphere like? Is it intense?
Okay, so I flew to Milan. I did Milan, and then we did Milan
Paris.
and Paris. So I worked on 2 shows. So the Gucci show was very busy, but if you've got a big enough team, it's not as busy. I did a show for myself. I was a creative director for a show for Ozzo Boateng, and we had to do 105 models. We had 5 hours to do it.
Whoa!
Seriously, it was crazy.
Whoa!
Yeah, and this was 2010, And there's some barbers that helped me. There was a guy, do you know Miguel?
Yeah,
Nomad? Miguel
Nomad,
helped me with that. And also Clipper Kim, yeah, he was on there as well. He helped me with that as well.
Yeah.
And we had a small team and a few other hairdressers that helped with that particular show. So this was like, so that's frantic. So you can get very frantic shows. But if it's well organized, and some of the teams are well organized, you get 3 or 4 people that you've got to work to, and there is a time limit. You usually have about 5 hours to prep the hair for most shows. So if your call time, so Givenchy in Paris, we had a call time for 10 o'clock for the models for the show. We had to be, our wake up time was about 5 in the morning. Yeah, so 5 we'll get to the location, set up, do the hair, and then, that's what happens. So is it frantic? It is, but the energy's high. The energy's high. You're able to express creatively. It's a really creative environment. And I believe it's the pinnacle of our industry in terms of what you can represent in terms of future trends. It really is a buzzy environment. And the Dior show was off the chain. You had Victoria Beckham. I was hanging out with Beckham and Victoria. What's that? Kate Moss and her daughter was there. Check the Instagram out.
I know. I've seen it. It's brilliant.
It is surreal. And to know that you can be in this environment. Dude, when I started cutting hair in a small barbershop in Tottenham, you would have to pay me to think that could happen.
I know. It's brilliant. It's brilliant to see. Yeah.
If anyone listens to me, it can happen to all of you guys. Trust me.
I know. Yeah, definitely, Chris. And again, like that sort of brings me on to my next question. With trends, obviously, you were at the height of the fashion shows a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, a couple of weeks ago. What's new? What's new coming out? Is there anything new, exclusive coming out, which people don't really know what's happening yet? Is there any new styles? Anything exclusive there for us?
I don't think. See, it's really funny because everybody says, when you talk about trends, I think in men's hair. So let's go to men's hair in particular. Men's trends are the hardest. Men are very hard to adopt trends. Okay, when a guy gets a style, he sticks with that for life. Okay, it's very different than women's hair. Women do hair for beautification and attractiveness, to attract or to maintain their beauty. Men do hair for form and function. Okay, it's getting long, I need to cut it. They don't think about beautification, so they don't change their style very often. All right, versus a woman's style. So are there trends? They are definitely trends, but I think those people pushing those trends have to realize it's not a trend until all of the guys adopt it. And it takes a long time for that to happen. It takes a long time for a guy to say, I want to change my hair because of XYZ person. Okay? I think most men go on trends with actors, sports persons. It's not necessarily fashion-led. Okay? It's not what's on the catwalk for men. On the catwalk for women, yes. For men, I don't think so. Our trends really are pushed by the thought leaders, the Beckhams. I mean, noughties. Whatever Beckham did, I don't know if he does.
Everybody copied.
Everyone copied. This is who the trend setters are. I don't know if they are now, but the footballers of now are the ones who are setting trends. So not necessarily catwalk. So I could say something to you, but really and truly, it's not a reflect of what the true trends are.
Yeah, well, the trend's coming in now from what I've seen. I watched a video of P. Diddy earlier having a hair mask, which I've never seen before. The guy had a mask on. He was rubbing this cream into his head. He's a very eccentric character. I know he's not very young, but his hair is absolutely brilliant. I must admit, he hasn't got one grey. His hairline's perfect. So, I like myself and you, Chris.
Yes,
obviously, we picked the wrong game, mate. We should have gone into the rap game. But and this conversation would be a lot different. I'm telling you that now. Anyway, going on to your celebrity clients, Chris. Obviously, you've done massive people over the years. I know it's difficult remembering all of them who they are, but just fire off a few which you've done, because a lot of people don't realise you have actually done quite a few celebrities, which I know. Who was your most favourite one?
Okay, so there's a crass way of saying the celebrities. I don't want to name drop. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy. But suffice to say, I would drop a couple. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Because let me answer your question.
It's a hard hitting show, SWEENEYTV, brother.
Okay. So I've looked after people like Sam Smith. I've looked after Jay Sean. I've looked after Addy Wiley, which is an actor. I've just done a film with David Aleo, which I've done a lot of films with him. I've worked on Suicide Squad with Cara Delevingne and a few other people as well that I've looked after as well. I've just done, Gucci Mane. This is cheesy, man. I don't want to keep going on.
No. Okay. We'll skip. Go on.
What I will say is this. That only happens when you start to have a profile. And it's really funny that someone asked me just now, what do you have to do to work in fashion? You have to be seen. If you're not seen, nobody knows the magic you've got. I urge you, all of you out there who's listening to this video right now, to get seen, to get visibility, to spend the time on your brand. Really think about what you want to represent, how you want to represent your magnificence. Because if you think you're not good enough, then you lose, okay? And that's all it is. So how I attracted that type of energy was once you start doing one, it's a snowball. So once I do one fashion show, it's a snowball. Once you do one star, it snowballs. Once you're in that circuit, the doors fly open. Go.
Well, going on to one of my questions, which I've got, and this is one from me, and I'm going to throw a right curveball at you here now. But what was it like cutting hair in the House of Parliament?
It's like cutting hair anywhere else, man.
No, but what I want to know is, you're in a very iconic building. Yeah. Obviously, you've got all the British MPs are in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were working with Gary, I think, at the time.
Yes, that was Gary. So yes.
Go. Just talk about the day. I want to know.
Okay, so we were there for the Hair Council. Again, it was to highlight the fact that our industry is very unregulated, and the MPs didn't know that barbering is so unregulated. You don't need to be qualified to be a barber. You don't, and they didn't know this. So we did some shave offs. So it was for November. So we go through a kind of a tunnel on the other side. You can put your security. You need to know that you're going to bring all these items in. So you have to give a list of stuff that you have to put through the scanners. You walk through, you go underneath a tunnel, you go into the House of Parliament. It's a quite musty old building, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
And they've got a very small shop in there. They've got a very small hairdresser come barber shop inside of that part of the House of Parliament. And it's really nice. It's a very small place. And we did some shaves on the MPs, and it was good fun. I mean, Gary's a great ambassador for British barbering, and it was great working with him, doing this particular thing. So is it cool to cut hair? Yeah, it's a cool place to cut hair. It really is.
Cool.
It's...
And were they very chatty type of guys, the MPs, or were they very quiet and just sort of let you go crack on with the job?
They're like a freebie, like most people, man.
Yeah, they're like a freebie. That's fair enough.
They were like, a free shave? Oh, I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you were Gary. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised you weren't coming down from Scotland and Northern Ireland. Honestly. So,
free shave.
Okay, Chris. Just sort of basically, we've just sort of wrapping up the show now. I've asked you every single question on here. I haven't missed anything. I just want to say thank you for giving us such a great interview, Chris. It's great being picking your brain. I'm definitely going to get Ashley to come back on again when I get my studio built. But any final thoughts for anybody up there? So we've got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. I don't think I could talk for 10 minutes. Maybe I can. I don't know.
Okay.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay. I would say never underestimate your abilities. Never underestimate what you can achieve. And if you need guidance and help, it's out there. Find people around you who are ahead of where you are right now and get working, get started, okay? Because time is a precious resource and we can spend time kind of thinking, oh, I'm not good enough. Find time to get personal development is the key thing that really helped me in my industry, in my